Hello, good afternoon all. Welcome to today's webinar, Importance of Standards for the Banking, Financial and IT Organization. My name is Chavinder Kaur from BSI Marketing Team. I am here to facilitate the webinar. Before we start, I would like to give you some ground rule. You all have joined the webinar as on listen only mode, but please feel free to type your question in the question box on the webinar control panel. Our speaker will do their best to answer as many questions at the end of the webinar. If due to time limit your question are not answered, then we will provide them after the webinar. This session is been recorded and you can hear the recording webinar later on. I am delighted to be joined by Mr. Alok Tilak. Thank you for joining us here today. Mr. Alok Tilak has more than 30 plus years of experience in IT with large public sector and private banks in India and foreign banking overseas for managing and monitoring information technology. He worked as IT head with State Audit Bureau Kuwait and was a driving force in getting ISMS certification in achieving CMMI level 3 before coming to India. He was heading information security of an investment banking subsidiary, Ahili United Bank Bahrain, and he is a lead auditor for ISO 27001, ISO 20000, and ISO 9001. To start with the webinar, I would like to hand over to Mr. Alok Tilak. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, and welcome, team. Good afternoon to all. This is Alok Tilak, and I'm sure I am audible to all.
Yes, you are audible.
So today, yeah, thank you. So once again, good afternoon, team, and we'll start our webinar as already told to you that it's around 1 hour. That includes question answer session also. And if anything is left over, you can anytime send your mail to my team and they will answer if anything is not answered during the stipulated time. The agenda of meeting is today, of course, introduction and information and cybersecurity regulatory requirements, if any. Information security threats, gaps in the organization, which is the global observations, what type of gaps we observe while doing audit or even by meeting the people. Securing interested parties customers information, like interested party means anybody who has got an interest in your organization. That includes your employee, customers, regulatory body, or anybody who has got some interest in organization since you are working in a social environment. So that also we'll discuss today, how to ensure that the interested parties interests are not any gap in their interest is filled properly. BSI support as your business partner in applying controls to avoid online cyber financial crimes, frauds and hacking. That also we'll discuss. And lastly, around 10-15 minutes, the session will be for questions and answer round. So first we'll try to understand why security is so important in financial sector and what is the status of security in IT as well as in financial sectors, that is bank or any BFSI. So 4 most critical information security requirements which every organization should have in order to create a insured and secured environment related to information and IT. So first, data security, data privacy at the storage and during transaction at the counter or online. So data is the most important information. Now most of the things are digitized and we are keeping everything in digitized form. Data, whether it is a banking data, it's a transaction data, whether it's a record, whether it is customer information, everything is in the data format. Even the legacy registers or documents are also scanned and kept in a digital form, and everything is called data. So data means any record which has got some information is data, whether it is online, whether it is transaction or stored. So data security and data privacy is very important at both at a storage and during transaction at counter or online. So storage means not only the backup, it does not mean only when it is stored on the cloud. Storage means when it is on your local hard disk, when it is on your laptop, everywhere where the data is information. There is a workflow for data. It first enters on your screen that looks like you are entering, but it is writing somewhere else, which is directly on your data server, or maybe on the cloud, or maybe on data center. But some data which are moving while entering at the counter, or at any online banking transactions, or any online transactions through using public network, at every stage data privacy is very important. So it's not only you are supposed to ensure your data at the storage, you must take care of your data at transaction level also. Secondary, the regulatory and mandatory compliance. So that is also important for every organization, whether it is IT financial organization, or whether it is IT organization. Here, already in most of the places like GDPR, or US has got many other, they have a regulatory requirements which you need to follow. The developing countries or even the Asian countries are also now meeting their data almost in the final stage of creating their data privacy regulations, and IT Act is already implemented in India and neighboring countries. Those acts are nothing but the regulatory requirements set by government, the specific government of that country, and everybody has to follow that. If you are not following that, then there are penalty, there are other regulatory compulsions which you have to follow. So that is also equally important. Third is service availability, business continuity without any service discontinuity. So that is also a part of information security. It's not only you have to protect the data, it's not only you have to ensure that your data or all regulatory compliance is met with. Even if you are providing some services to your customer, whether it is a banking customer, whether it is an IT customer, their service should be available. Nowadays, everything is like, take an example of internet banking or even e-commerce. It can be done anytime from any place. The geography and global distance, everything is close. Take an example now, people are celebrating some Rakhi and all in India. They are sending Rakhi, so even the midnight somebody is trying to send something to his brother or sister, they can do it. So service should be available round the clock, 24/7, without any service discontinuity. That is also a part of information security. And last is customer trust. Their customers, your client are providing lots of information to you. Many banking organization is having the data of their credit card, their personal information, PIs, their Aadhaar card, the local identification number, everything they are providing while opening the account, or some business requirement. It's your responsibility that it should not be divulged to anybody who is not supposed to look at it. And this is only possible if we have secured IT environment. You are maintaining information security in organizations. And once customers will realize that this bank or this organization I can trust upon, only they will have a good relationship with you. Otherwise, people are reluctant to having a business with you. So these four important factors which we should consider while considering the information security in IT or financial sector. Usually, there is a myth that data protection and data security is only information security. That is rather only 20-30%. Of course, that should also not be diverted, but even service availability, regulatory compliance, customer trust, everything are. And that is where these requirements can be achieved by maintaining, which is what is the information security terms, and even in the standard they take care of these very important points. That is integrity, means whatever the data you are having, it should be complete and correct. Take an example, if a banking information or a balance you are showing to your customer, even there is a difference of even 50 paisa or 1 rupees, it's not acceptable to anybody. So integrity means the data is not only the data should be protected, it should be complete and correct. That is also information security. Confidentiality, that's already we have discussed. Anything which is not supposed to be seen by somebody else should not be shared to anybody else. Availability, it should be available whenever it required, and nowadays availability means 24/7 into 365. There is no compromise on that. You can't say that my internet banking was not working from 12 to 12 or in the midnight, or we close it after 10 o'clock. Assurance and accountability. Assurance is nothing but the trust that should be built among the customers or between customer and the client. And of course, accountability. If something happens to their data or something happens to their transaction, something happens to their IT assets, accountable. Who will be accountable? And here the IT Act and data privacy regulation doesn't come into the picture. If a client is able to prove that the organization has not taken proper care of confidentiality and you have not followed the compliance for the data privacy, then you are liable to pay the penalty. When your license may be cancelled. So accountability is also very important. If all these things are taken into care, other things are already automatically follow if we take care of these things. So before we go much in detail, there are some information facts about information security in financial sector to be precise. So you will be surprised to know developing countries like India, Bangladesh have more than 30% digital transaction, and it has been been likely to cross 50% in 2-3 years. Already we have reached 40-45%. Both the places, India, Bangladesh, even Bhutan has started now everything connecting to NPCI of India network. Earlier there was no network connectivity for the banking organization in Bhutan. Now they are also connected to Indian Rupee. You might have heard about it. That is NPCI network. So they have got a banking transaction. So almost 50% transactions. You will be surprised to know during COVID it has jumped 10 to 15%. Everybody is using like Google Pay and many online transactions. So that is the situation. It is growing. The days are not far that almost 70-80% transaction or maybe 90% will be done through the digital media only online. About 50% of the financial firms had at least one malware in the last 1 year, meaning hackers frequently target the financial industry. So it's alarming. 50% out of total, at least one malware attack, and that's successfully done. Means it has been detected out of total sample. Banks fall victim of cyber crimes more than other sectors. Banks means financial sector, financial organizations, due to inherent risk of financial transactions and vulnerability in the system. You know that. Here, if somebody is able to hack something, he will get money. And everything, everybody is trying to get money only. And banks, all the transactions, all the data, everything has got some value, whereas some other places may not be so easily accessible. The financial monetary benefit, they may get some information which may be utilized later on, but here if somebody is able to hack somebody's account, he can take, or through online banking. So we are the bankers are the most, or financial organizations are the most vulnerable among all. Take an example of an IT organization. If something happens, of course it is a very bad image, the business will go, but there may not be any immediate financial loss. In turn, there will be a business loss. With respect to cybersecurity health, only 25% of the 20 highest performing banks received a A grade in domain health check, and this is global. So you will be surprised to know, out of 20, they have taken a sample size, only 25%, means 4 banks or 5 banks were the best A grade in DNS health check. So all these things are a bit alarming, because the way the online digital transaction is growing, we need more and more. The threats are also increasing with the increase of users. Here are the most common type of attack vectors reported by financial service companies. So these are very used. 42% unauthorized access, poor access control. So if your access control is not strong enough, somebody will try to enter inside, man in the middle, or there are many ways. So your access control, either it is a physical or logical, it should be effective. 31% malicious code, lack of awareness, poor antivirus and security patch updating. See, so 35% of the codes, malicious codes, are entered in your data because you are not aware what I am supposed to do. Take an example, you have the strongest possible password in your application, but you have noted down it somebody. You are not keeping it memorized. Then you are not aware of the importance of the password, or you are sharing your password to somebody else. Then the whole meaning of password is going. So awareness is very important. And also the patches. Many a time you are receiving patches from the Microsoft patches, Unix patches, many patches, security patches that must be updated in time. Otherwise, it will keep some gap in your controls. So that is vulnerability. That is how, and somebody else who is doing this is much more professional, much more knowledgeable than the people who are working with the IT software and applications. So in order to control that, there should be very strong system control. 70% sustained probe scan through unauthorized utility or mail attachment. So something is coming to your mail, out of curiosity you are opening it without knowing that that is a malware. And the moment you will open or click on any mail which is not supposed to open, there are chances of entering some application, some unused exe file and something, and it will sit somewhere in your database. It will sit somewhere in application. It will exploit. Not today, maybe after 1 year, maybe after 2 years, you will not be able to know what is happening after 2 years. So never ever open any email from an unauthorized person, or even attachment, mail attachment. 6% suspicious activities, 3% access of credential abuse. So means somebody has used somebody else's password, or somebody is able to break the password. That is called credentials, login and password. That is also 3%. More than 50% of attackers were identified as being insider with access to the system network, with 50% having malicious intent and other causing event through inadvertent action. So you can see out of total the security attacks happening to the organization, 50% are your own people. I'm not telling people are bad, but out of interest, out of inadvertently not knowing, they are committing error, and that is unnecessarily causing the information security breaches. Very few have got some malicious intention, and that is through somebody else. So why I'm telling all those things, all these things can be avoided if we have controls in place. And controls means system controls. You have put the system process like that. Despite everything, nobody is able to exploit your system. So we'll also talk something about the regulatory guidelines, which is already there. In Europe, you can see that GDPR, I was just talking about that. That is a regulatory requirement. Every organization has to follow this general data protection regulations. Even the Indian or Bangladeshi or even Pakistan, anybody who is doing any business in Europe, that organization also need to maintain the GDPR compliance. Like any bank or any financial institution having a card or data, they are maintaining any customer information related to credit card, they should have a PCSS, PCI DSS compliance. That is in India everywhere. Otherwise, you cannot having a Visa card and MasterCard business in your organization. So you have to have PCI DSS certification. Similarly, GDPR, that is for data protection. It's mandatory in Europe, and other countries who are doing business in Europe, it is mandatory. US has got many data protection law. Every region has got its own. But still, they have, it's a federal type of thing. There is not one single like Europe GDPR, but they are also there. India also, the data protection bill is already introduced in 2019, and it was lying pending for the approval of the parliament. Now they have taken it back only 10 days back. There will be some changes, and again the Data Privacy Act will be introduced. See, so it's a not only act, it's a very important thing. How your data will be used by the agency you are having, it includes the government agencies also. How can they use the data, and how they will ensure that the data is protected? So because data is very important thing. If somebody knows my mobile number, 50% of OTP are coming there. So it's a very like important information. My email ID, many information are coming on email ID. So that should not be shared to some third party unless there is a business requirement, and it is ensured that it will be protected. So there is a polling. Some questions are there. Over to the coordinator for this. You will have around 1 or 2 minutes for this. Do you think information security control of ISMS prevent error, loss, unauthorized modification, or misuse of information in application? I agree. Yes, clearly essential to achieve this long-term goal of InfoSec. It is a must for achieving a long-term goal of breaches. So we can proceed.
Yes, sir, you can proceed.
Okay, thank
Would you
you.
like to see the poll answer?
That we can see later on.
Sure.
Or if quickly you can show it on screen. Whatever. I think organization must hide poll result to enable screen sharing. So we can proceed. Okay. So now we'll talk something about the internal fraud, financial services. So what type of frauds, which is very common in financial services, theft from the customers. So some customer theft means not a physical theft, some informations, some the customer data, or some customer properties are being misused. That is theft from the customer. Credit abuse, that is also both way. Breaches of policy. So as I was, we were mentioning just now, the IT Act, or there are many policy, information security policies, other policy, some breaches in order to have your personal benefit, or maybe for some interest or some malicious intention. That is also a fraud. Money laundering, that is also considered as a fraud. Procurement fraud, while procuring some IT informations or some IT assets, there are chances of some fraud. Trading fraud, during transactions there may be some fraud, and of course all these are the internal frauds which can be controlled through proper vigilance and proper the security controls available with us, because you will get immediately alert if somebody is trying to see your data or any customer information. Immediately some monitoring tool will give you some alert. Similarly, the money laundering and all, any transactions higher than some amount and some suspicious transaction, that already it is implemented in most of the country. India also it is implemented. Every day, every bank automatically, all the transaction over 5,000 or 5 lakhs and something goes to RBI. RBI see all those, and same day in the evening, they send back their reports to the bank to look into these suspicious transactions, which seems like a money laundering. So IT is helping them in a different way in controlling lots of fraud. Procurement fraud, anything you are procuring, everything is coming on SAP, and there is a reconciliations, there is a customer evaluations, why the customer is being retained. So there are different parameters you are judging his performance. Only then his contract is renewed. So if you put a process control using some standard, like 9001, 27001. Many frauds can also be reduced or avoided. Now coming to a specific security threats. So you are aware what is threat. Threats are not risk. Threats are vulnerability which can be exploited by so your weakness is being exploited, and the exploiter is called a threat. That may be anybody, a human threat, maybe natural threat, maybe a system threat, maybe due to lack of your control, your machine will shut down automatically. There is no intention, there is no malicious code, but the service is interrupted. Nobody is able to get the information during that time. The banking transaction will stop during that time. So different type of threats are there. So digital transaction make life a lot more convenient. We agree on that, but it also opens finances up to the threat and hackers. So the more transaction doing online, or you are using through your phone and all those things, like UPI and other, you are open to the hack also and threat also. It's important to take active steps to protect organization from data breaches and hacks, and to meet regulatory compliances. So there are 6 type of critical security threats, which is out of a global survey. Number 1 is cybercrime. Cybercrime is principal goal is to monetize their attacks. So cybercrime is nothing but the crime committed by hackers, or there are lots of people working across the globe. The number is mind-boggling. It is more than, I think, 500,000 people across the globe who are working on this only. And if they get anywhere all the time like a hawk, they are looking at your your data, your transactions, your control. Any weakness is exploited, and all those hawker people who are looking at you are nothing but the threats. So cyber crime, that is the biggest one for some benefit, whether financial benefit, data benefit. So they are committing this crime. Then activism. Activism is nothing but the people who are, you can say, try to get some publicity, sometime ethical, try to learn something. Their intention is not only to earn money, but to satisfy their ego, or sometime like publicly announcing, I'm able to hack the US data, I'm able to hack this visa data and all those things. Though they have not any financial interest, they are also equally threats. Tomorrow they can be a big threat to any organization, because they learn all your IP address. They can they understood your vulnerabilities, and they can do harms to you. Insider. So already we have seen 50% of the crimes committed by the insider people out of total crimes, and out of that 50%, may not everybody has got some financial interest, but they are insider. Then physical threats. Physical control is also equally important. So if you consider physical threat means unauthorized persons should not enter into your critical and sensitive areas, because there are data. Even somebody switch off your UPS, the whole system will come to a standstill. And again, the availability, there may not be any problem with the data protection, but there are chances some data which is under transaction may get spoiled. There may be some junk will come down. So physical threat is also important. Somebody can take away your laptop lying somewhere unattended, or some information which is lying on your table, like a quote or something which you don't want, confidential information, you are keeping it open. Then that can also be a harm to the organization. So these are very important. Now coming to like, which is a global terrorist. Now terrorists are also very much active in finding some security, like the country security informations. Then they sell it to the other country, and they earn in billions and billions of dollars. And espionage, a spy. So they are also from a different country like China, India. Everybody is what they have their own cyber spies. These spies are cyber spies. They are trying to get as much information from the other country, particularly the enemy country, or even not enemy country. Every time recently, you must have heard that the US, there was a big breach of the information from the United States, though they claim that they have the strongest control. Now I'll just tell you why we are talking these things, why these things are important, because all these things can be controlled by a proper systematic organized process and controls if are in place. And if you think of any global standard available in the market, whether it is ISO or any other better governance standard, they talk about it. There are people who have worked on that. They have devised all the controls. They have devised all the processes, and that those processes are nothing but they are building a overall security environment in the organization. As they say, security can be either 100% or 0%. There cannot be 99% security. 1% security is also as good as a zero security. If you are using the strongest lock and guard and everything on the main gate, and one window is open from backside, anybody can come inside and take away whatever the valuable available in the house. So security cannot be 99% or 90%. You have to apply 100%. Of course, there may be some weaknesses that will be exploited, but you have applied 100%. And that is only possible if you follow some standard, some who has worked on that. So the bottom line is that your information security is as strong as your weakest link. So the weakest link will be exploited and it will go woof. Everything will go away. So big question. That's what. How to respond to the threats? We have already talked a lot about the threats, risks, and the security requirements. Why these security requirements are required? But how to go about it? There are many ways. So some of important things I talk: staff education and background checks, physical security measures in data centers, physical security. We were just talking about it. User authentication and authorization. So the credential controls. Only authorized person should have access to your application, data, system, everywhere. Only authorized person, and that should be strongly implemented. Physical security, nobody should enter if he is not authorized to enter. Visitors should also have no access to your critical information. They should be stopped somewhere in the training room or the visiting room. Monitoring and measuring the status of existing security controls. So this is equally important. Only by putting control is not sufficient, because threats are also changing, or even if somebody is being identified as a threat, nobody is monitoring, you are not even aware. Then so now the monitoring is also most organizations 24/7, 365. Alert is coming on your mobile and people are sitting there looking at the screen, whatever. So I have seen many banks there, more than 20-25,000 ATMs across the globe, and every link is being monitored by people on the screen. If there is any amber or red alert on the link, immediately they come into action. So proactively they are monitoring everything. Similarly, nowadays there are so many tools available. They will give you immediately alert. It will come to your mobile, it will come to your help desk, it will come to your screen, mail, whatever. Oh, there is a weakness, there is somebody is trying to hack you, or some weakness, some system capacity is utilized, and all those. So monitoring and measuring is equally important. Application control and DLP implementation, data loss preventions and applications, all type of system controls you need. Maker and checker. If somebody is doing any transaction, somebody else should verify it. Log review. Every log should be reviewed. That is a post. Already some transaction has been done, but you are able to know. So people know that somebody is reviewing my log. So insider will be alerted. If I do something, maybe for some time I will not be detected, but in the evening or in the afternoon or sometime online monitoring also, so my log will be detected, what I have done wrong, where I have made some changes. Perimeter security, multi-layer defense, physical and logical. So it's not only one. Take an example of data center. When you go to data center, there are 7 or 8 layers of controls, physical controls. First layer, second layer, third layer, fourth layer. When somebody is escorting you, when you are doing some work in the data center, he is standing there. So 7 layers of securities, including it starts from when you come near their building itself. There is a boundary there. Also, some controls are there. So they apply because they are keeping the data of hundreds of important clients, hundreds of important banks in their data center. If anything happens, then not only the business, their reputation, but the data and their accountability will also come into the question. to the bank has given him his data, his server to keep in their data center. So vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, we are supposed to do the penetration testing and vulnerability very regularly. It is nothing but the ethical hacking. You are trying to penetrate in your system. If you find any fault, any vulnerabilities, immediately you have to plug that. That is also being done very regularly, and you are supposed to do that. Data backup and high availability of the data and devices. Business continuity plan. Updated malware protections. Turn on two-factor so now when any transaction online or offline you are doing, it's not only your password is sufficient. You will get an OTP. So two factors on your own mobile. So there are a chain of controls. Your mobile number should be hacked. Somebody should use your mobile number. OTP is coming there. That also you have to factor. Sometimes three factors or multi-factor authentication depending upon the criticality. When you have given your OTP, then they are asking some questions, security questions, which already you have given your name of grandfather and what is your first watch brand and all those things. So they are multi-level authentication. Only then you are able to complete your transactions. Encryption. So data, while it's moving, somebody is able to even take your data. You will not be able to read anything because the data is encrypted. VPN and dedicated. VPN is nothing but virtual private network, means a private tunnel is created from the place connected one place to another place. Or even when you are using a public network from your home, the moment you handshake with the banking application, VPN is automatically connected and nobody can enter. That is a private network for that particular time, that wavelength, that bandwidth and IP address is secured. Risk assessment and risk mitigation plan. Now, one important thing I will tell you. So whatever we have discussed, I have taken only few of the example how to respond to a threat. There are many in the next slide. Each and every controls are there in the standard. There are more than 114 controls available in ISO 27000 standard. They talk about these only. Like take an example of physical security. So there are 10 controls on physical security. Log review, there are 5 controls on log review. User authentication and authorization, there are 6. So there are many. And unless all the relevant controls are applicable and it is verified by your internal team, external team, you are not going to get the certificate, and there is no chance of any miss. In addition to that, there are many process control, like how to make your policy, how to monitor your system, what is your objectives, and all those things for the process improvement and improvement of business. So now we have some solutions and recommendations for the security controls. These are most of the organizations are using it now. It's very popular and very common. First is information security, cyber security, and privacy protection management system. This is likely to be launched. Already it is launched, and by September 2022, it will be active. Earlier it is called information security management system. Now the name has changed of 27,000. Now it is called information security, cyber security, and privacy protection management system. 27,001 2022, which is likely to be released on, means start implementing by 2022 September. Earlier it was information security management system. So now lots of improvement from the additional 114 controls and other which I am talking about now has been revised. Some more controls, some cloud controls, some other controls are also put in the place. One-stop solution, having multiple controls, process, policies, physical and logical controls to provide almost 99.99% information security protection. So 99.9% protection, that is ensured. 0.1 rest, whatever the missing, is through your proper monitoring and awareness that you can ensure. Any standard or any control will only ensure this much. Otherwise, how can be 100%? Because somebody can do it deliberately. You are not aware, you are sharing your password to somebody else, then what can be done? So that's why some percentage is left. That is the one solution. And already we have discussed, it's not only the technical or information control, your process, your policies, your physical and logical controls, all are included in one standard. Unless everything is met, the standard is not complete and you are not going to get certificate. There is a defined process, there is a defined policies. More than 50 or 100 policies every organization should make. The passport policy, access control policy, data entry policy, operation policies, access control policy, all type of policies, and then you have to implement controls in research. ISMS requirements, which continue its repetition as the best standard for information management globally. You will be surprised to know now many education institutes, many hospitals are going for this standard. Reason is that hospitals are maintaining the medical information of the client. I recently I was doing audit of a hospital, very big reputed hospital, where most of the clients, most of the patients are from the Middle East, and their medical history is very important. It should not be leaked. So the organization, the hospital is going for 27,001 certifications. Education institutes where the students address and everything are available, they are also going for this. Now much more aligned to the technology by the integration with the cloud. So there are two other controls standards, 27,017 and 27,018, along with 27,000. One is talking exclusively about cloud security, and another is covering data security. That also can be assessed. So all the three together, one integrated 27,000 with cloud security and data security. Otherwise, 27,000 itself is now upgraded to 2022 version with almost all the controls. So according to industry survey, current ISMS standard is a comprehensive information security program that is integrated with the enterprise risk management framework, compiled with regulatory requirement and based on the latest industry security standard. This is what is the study, and no wonder that's why everybody is rushing to go for this standard, irrespective of the type of business they are doing, whether they are banking and IT are very important, but others are also now going for this particular standard, which is very popular. And now this is bundled with 27,017 and data security also. So again, I'll stop for some time. Some poll questions are there. So over to you, organizer.
Thank you everyone for giving your poll. So here is the poll result. Over to you, Alok sir.
Okay, thank you. So two important stages we have discussed about the type of threats, why it is important, then how it can be controlled. Now we come to some advantages, benefits of implementing these standards. Many you can see 27,000, 27,017, 18, and 31,000. All standards are for a specific purpose. 27,000 is the apex highest for information security. Along with 27,017 and 18, already I have told you that one is for cloud security, some additional control, and another is for data security, some additional control. And 31,000 is exclusively for risk assessment. You can go for your risk assessment, like this will give you how to identify your risk, and then you can yourself put your controls based on the risk assessment. Once it will give you what type of risk and what is the risk and how to mitigate that, then implementation can be done by the team itself. So ISMS standard defines more than 100 security controls with processes, implementation guidelines to protect organization information from external and internal threats. It is a comprehensive solution for process implementation, information, and cyber security and data privacy. Already we discussed a lot about this. So the standard, what is the benefit of the standard? What are the advantages? Clarify security regulations, common security criteria, security guidance, customer data protection, risk you can identify, then threats are also identified. It will help you in preparedness against all the identified threats and risks. And there are exercises and SOPs, everything is available in the standard itself. You implement that. SOPs are nothing but the standard operating process for different processes. How to implement the best password, how to implement the access control, how to implement the physical control, how to log your monitors. Though those things are part of the standard. So again, there is a question. So over to you, organizer.
Thank you everyone for participating in the last poll question. So here's the poll result. Over to you, Alok sir.
Okay, thank you. So key advantage of implementing, again, we are continuing for a few more slides, one or two on this. So it secures information in all its forms, whether it is physical, whether it is digital, whether it is paper form, everywhere. Provides a centrally managed framework. So you will implement one framework. There will not be like in isolation silos somewhere here, somebody is looking this, somebody is looking physical security, somebody is looking IT security. It's one framework where everything is covered and responsibilities are defined. Roles and responsibilities are defined in that itself. One policy which takes care of everything. So you have a consolidated information security policy that will take care of all type of controls. Helps protect and respond to evolving security threats. So new threats are also coming. If you have a robust controls available with you, this will help you in protecting and responding. That responding is nothing but proactively you will be able to respond if any threat is identified. Protects confidentiality, availability, integrity of data center and cloud. Already we have talked about this. So it's not only the confidentiality that is important. Service availability, data availability is also important, and its integrity. Data should be complete and correct. Even 0.5 paise or 1 rupees difference will not be accepted by your customer in your data. And it will ensure continuity, availability, assurance, and accountability. Already we also talked about it. So the client will have assurance in your organization that, oh, they are ISO 27000 certified. It means minimum global standards are maintained in the organization. And also accountability can be set. Some more advantages: exclusively standard wise. 27070 is primarily concerned with the relationship between providers and their customers. 27070 audit, our experts help you identify key security elements that improve the quality and reliable. 2718 especially address the requirement of the data protection. And another is 27701, that is privacy information management system, PIMS. Now people are going for that also. The moment the data control like GDPR will be available in your country or in our country or any other country, then you can go for PIMS, that is 27701. So final thoughts before we conclude. Merely investing in information security and technology is not sufficient. It needs to be supplemented with organization-wide education regarding the regulations, standards, the value of data, and the process of security managed sensitive data. That's why I was putting emphasis right from the beginning. It's not only the IT and not only the controls. There should be process, there should be awareness, there should be regular monitoring. Everything is important. Otherwise, you implement and you will slip back to the normal position. It is only by conducting proper training and imparting knowledge that the financial services providers can formulate a unified approach to manage sensitive data and adhere to the regulations soon in order to combat financial cybercrime and enhance security in banking and financial system. So if you go for a standard with, take an example, BSI, we have world the best trainers available with you, and there will be a training program conducted, awareness training, or what you are supposed to do, how to implement your standards or anything, risk assessment, PMs, everything. So that will also be provided by the certification body. So BSI certifies organization for ISO 27000 integrated with 17 and 70, 31,000 risk management standard, 27,000 PIM is catching fast due to PI regulation across the globe. BSI Infosys training program is one of the best in the global market. And this is not I am presenting to you. This is what is there available. You can go and verify anywhere on the Google, which is the most reputed certification body. Now, few things about BSI. BSI Group believes in helping to build a world where consumers trust organizations to do the right thing, balancing the drive of profit with the needs of planet. So you know that we are a Royal Charter company. We are not a profit-generating company. We follow the Royal Charter of British Empire, and whatever the profit we generate, we put it in the building the standard or conducting the training. So you take all the standard, whatever the important standard globally, it is first developed by BSI, and we release in the market at BS, like BS 5750, BS 7750, BS 88000, BS 7799 in 1995 as information security. Then in 2005, it was purchased by 27,000 ISO. They made some modification. There also our teams are working with them, and they release it as an ISO, and thereafter we get almost 8 to 10 years royalty for that. So any standard, you name any standard, it first developed and released in the market at BS, and later on it was taken over by ISO, and they released with the different number. So this is what is the Royal Charter Company. Today we have 193 countries, 73 offices, 86. Now I think this is 100,000 clients, 4,500 colleagues and 11,900 experts, 2,200 audit days delivered last 12 months. In last 1 year, it is more than 200,000, 232,000, 63,000 standard published, and $800 million revenue. So what I was telling, it is independent, not for distributed profit. Governance assured by a strong board of directors. So we are not a profit generating, we are a Royal Charter company. So these are other resources available. Visit web page, download 27,000 self-assessment checklist, information security, data privacy, cyber security, internal audit, lead auditor training courses. So thank you. That's all about the presentation. Now, if you have any question and answer.
Yes.
Over to you, organizer. It's open to the team.
So thank you so much, Alok sir. And I do believe this session is the eye opener and the insightful for our viewer. Now, what I'll do, just because of some time limit, will because we do receive a lots of question, so we'll take top 5 question and we'll answer it. So the first question is, how do the changes impact the ISO 27701 that is linked to the ISO 27001? Any specific impact, or it is matter of review of the organization?
No, whenever you are going for this standard implementation 27701, that is privacy, then it has got a set pattern, set rules, and you are supposed to implement that innovation, and that will be reviewed by the BSI auditor And once it is being found to be compliance with the requirements, only the certificate will issue. And not only that, there will be surveillance audit every year. And if you find any weakness or any non-conformity, you are supposed to take the suitable action. And unless the suitable action is taken care of, your certificate will not be renewed and continued. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Question number two. What is the benefit of implementing ISO 27001, ISO 27017, and ISO 27018 together in the organization?
Good question. This is good. Already we have talked about it. Actually, 27,001 is the base. So everybody has to go for that. Without that, 17 and 18 are not possible. You cannot get only 17. Now 27,001 is the basic information security, but cloud is changing very fast. Every day they will change in some lots of things. So if you go for 17 also along with 27,000, then there are few more specific controls that will be verified. There are, to be precise, 8 more controls. Similarly, data privacy, in order to align it with the global data regulations like GDPR and USA, 2018 is also included in that. But you can go only for information security 27,000. That is also robust. But if you have lots of things for cloud, then it's advisable to go with 27,017 only. If you need some data privacy also, then go all the three together. And the interesting thing I would like to say here that suppose, take an example, if there are 5 days audit for 27,000, then only half day or 1 day will be added and you can get all the three together. So that is how it is. But there is no mandate to go for all three together. You can go only for 27,000. You can go 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. But 27,000 is a must. Those two are supplementary, additional.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. So the next question is, if someone is in the process of implementing an ISO 27001 2013 version and was relying on the new ISO 27001 2022 version to support the ISMS, how does this affect the ongoing implementation?
No, after September this year, 22, no certificate will be issued for the old standard. So in any case, you have to like make amendment in your implementation status, not major changes, slight here and there, some more requirement changes, and you will get directly 22 only. But if you are already there and you are going for surveillance audit, then till 2024 September, you have an option to transition from 2013 to 2022. But after September, if you are going for certification, then you will get a new standard only. And your implementation, there will not be a major change. Some changes that whosoever is helping in implementation will give you, and we also release press note. Already it is there on the website also, what are the changes required for the new standard. And the new standard is also available. You can purchase and look at that.
Okay, thank you, sir. So the next question is, do you intend to implement ISO 27001 and ISO 31000? If so, how do you think that BSI can help?
Oh, BSI, they provide support for both. There are two different standards. 31,000 is only risk assessment, 27,000 is one. We don't provide any consultancy advice, but we conduct training, we conduct internal audit. So all those will nothing but it will help. So during training you will understand how to implement it. Once implemented, then there will be internal audit conducted by the internal BSI a team or by somebody else as a second party audit, and then you can go for a certification audit. So that is how it is. So best way to join the training program conducted by BSI continuously, and you will understand what you are supposed to do for implementation.
Okay.
That's a big help.
Okay, thank you. So we take the last question, and that is, it's like currently, are we reporting on information security risk assessment report to the corporate team?
Who? We means BSI.
Yes.
Yeah. BSI is also audited every year by accreditation board. So we also follow everything. we are audited regularly by accreditation board unless we are authorized. We are only recommending body. ANAB, UCAS, those are the body which provide the certifications. BSI only do audit and recommend. So we are also audited regularly, and for that the risk and everything is looked into. If any non-conformity raised by them, then we have to also send the action plan for that.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And now I would like to thank all of you and our presenter for joining us today. We will try to answer all of your question and send you the recording of this webinar shortly. Now we are, because we have given the time commitment to close this webinar by 3 o'clock. So we are closing this session now, and I request everyone to make sure to fill the survey question after this webinar so that we can support your requirement. And now we will close this webinar, and thank you once again, Alok sir, for your time and for this insightful session to us and to our viewer. And so, we will surely connect for the next webinar very soon.
Thank you, organizer, and thank you, team, for your patience hearing. It's a pleasure. All the best. Bye.
Bye sir. Thank you.